Hey there, and welcome back. This is Zoe, and you're listening to the show where we cut through the hype and talk about tech, AI, and software tools that actually matter. No jargon, no fluff, just real talk. Before we dive in, here is a quick look at what is coming up today. We are going to talk about something that a lot of developers have been curious about, but not many have actually tried. What happens when you replace your entire software stack with AI for a full week? No traditional tools, no Google, no Stack Overflow, no manual debugging, just AI from start to finish. I have been digging into real experiments that people have actually run, and the results are honestly a mix of impressive, terrifying, and hilarious. So stay tuned. All right, let us get into it. The idea sounds simple enough. Take everything you normally use to write software, your code editor, your terminal, your documentation lookups, your debugging workflow, your code reviews, even your project planning, and replace every single one of them with an AI-powered alternative. For 1 week, no safety net. Real projects, real deadlines. A bunch of developers have actually done this in 2026, and the stories they came back with are wild. Some of them tried it for 7 days, some went all the way to 30 days. But the pattern that emerged is pretty consistent across the board. So let me break it down for you. Week 1 is what everyone calls the honeymoon phase, and honestly, it feels incredible. You fire up something like Cursor instead of VS Code or Claude Code instead of your regular terminal workflow, and suddenly, everything moves faster. You describe what you need in plain English, and the tool writes the code, runs it, debugs it, and iterates on it. Tasks that used to take you 30 minutes are done in 5. You feel like you have a superpower. One developer I read about replaced his entire Google and Stack Overflow habit with an AI chat. Instead of typing a search query and clicking do 10 results, he just pasted his error message with some context and got a fix in seconds. His daily Google searches dropped by about 70%. The small utility sites, like JSON validators, SQL formatters, regex testers, those were the easiest wins. ChatGPT replaced all of them almost instantly. Another developer replaced his entire dev workflow with AI coding agents. Cursor for real-time pair programming, Claude Code for complex architecture decisions, GitHub Copilot for automated bug fixes. He said that after 3 days, he felt like a CTO, not a solo developer. He was reviewing pull requests instead of writing code. He closed 12 issues in the first week alone. Sounds amazing, right? But then week 2 happens, and this is where things start to crack. Something he could do in his sleep 6 months ago. When a tool writes code for you, you stop building the muscle memory of writing it yourself. That skill atrophy is real, but the bigger problems are more insidious. One developer had an AI tool optimize a database query for him. The tests passed, he pushed to production. 3 hours later, a user reported that their data was missing. The AI had changed a lefty join to an INE join. Technically more efficient, but semantically wrong for the data model. The test just did not cover that edge case. He learned the hard way that the tool did exactly what he asked. He just had not asked well enough. Another experimenter set up AI agents for his entire DevOps pipeline, a deploy agent, a monitor agent, an incident agent, and an optimize agent. Day 8, the deploy agent pushed a breaking change to production at 2 in the morning. The tests all passed, staging worked fine, but it missed a race condition that only showed up under load. 47 minutes of downtime. The incident agent diagnosed the problem in 3 minutes, but then took 44 minutes to fix it because it kept trying the same failed approach over and over. Day 11, the monitor agent generated almost 3,000 alerts in a single day. It had learned that anomalies exist everywhere and started flagging absolutely everything. The signal-to-noise ratio dropped to 0. Day 14, the optimize agent optimized the database by adding 47 indexes. Query performance improved 10 times for those queries, but write performance dropped by 60% because the agent had not considered that the workload was write-heavy. And then there's the story of the developer who let an AI handle his entire writing, coding, research, and planning workflow for 7 days with 0 exceptions. He said the most surprising thing was that he had to think more, not less. Using AI, required him to be more precise about what he actually wanted. Vague prompts gave vague results. He spent mental energy he thought he was saving, just in a different place. So what is the verdict after all of these experiments? Well, nobody recommends going back to the old way completely, but nobody recommends going full AI either. The sweet spot that almost everyone found is somewhere in the middle. Here is what the data from these experiments actually shows. On tasks the developer already understood well, productivity went up by about 40%. On tasks they did not fully understand, productivity actually went down because they had one more layer of output to verify before they could trust it. The tools that made it permanently into people's workflows share one thing in common. They understand context. They work with your code base, not against it. The tools that got dropped were generic. They could help anyone, which meant they could not really help you. So what does a healthy AI augmented workflow actually look like, based on what these experimenters landed on? First, AI takes care of the boring stuff. Boilerplate code, writing test stubs, generating documentation skeletons, formatting, linting, routine email drafts, meeting transcriptions, the work that burns developers out but still needs to get done. Second, AI acts as a first pass for research and debugging. Instead of clicking through 10 search results, you ask AI first. So you always verify the output, especially for anything that touches production data, security, or business critical logic. AI could deploy to staging automatically, but production needed human sign-off. AI could draft code, but every agent-generated change to a critical path gets mandatory human review. AI could suggest optimizations, but database schema changes required manual approval. One experimenter put it perfectly. AI agents are great at detection but bad at judgment. They excel at finding anomalies and patterns. They struggle with understanding context, whether an anomaly matters, whether a fix is safe, whether users will be affected. Another said the real value is augmentation, not replacement. The best outcome was not replacing the DevOps team. It was making them 5 times more productive. They now focus on architecture, strategy, and complex debugging instead of toil. And here is the uncomfortable truth that keeps showing up across all these stories. AI can make you faster, but it can also make you lazier in ways you do not notice at first. The developers who will thrive are not the ones who treat AI as a shortcut to skip understanding. They are the ones who use it to think bigger, ship faster, and go deeper than they could alone. Your fundamentals still matter, maybe more than ever. Let me give you a practical example to tie this all together. Imagine you are building a new feature. Here is what a smart AI augmented workflow looks like. You start by describing the architecture and the constraints to your AI tool. You treat it like a junior developer who needs very clear instructions. It drafts the initial code. You review it, spot the mistakes, and give feedback. It iterates. You run the tests. It fixes what breaks. You ship it. But here is the key. You never skip the understanding part. You read every line of code that goes into production. You verify every database change. You question every optimization. The developers who treat AI as a collaborator, not a replacement, are the ones who come out ahead. So to wrap this up, replacing your entire software stack with AI for a week is a fantastic experiment. You should try it. But go in with your eyes open. You will be blown away by how fast you can move. And then you will hit the wall where AI confidently does the wrong thing. And that is where you learn the most valuable lesson of all. AI is a powerful assistant, but it is useless as a full replacement for thinking. Best used as a co-pilot, never on autopilot. That is it for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show. It really helps. And if you want to share your own experience with swapping out your tools for AI, I would love to hear about it. Until next time, stay curious. This is Zoe, signing off.